Every game played here since the Palace opened 2 years ago has been sold out. No exception today. 21,000 plus on hand. Now let's meet the starting lineups. First of all, for the Chicago Bulls, Bill Cartwright in the center, Scottie Pippen, Horace Grant in the front court, Michael Jordan and John Paxson, despite the sprained ankle, in the backcourt. The head coach is Phil Jackson, and for the Detroit Pistons, it's Dennis Rodman and James Edwards up front. Bill Laimbeer at center. Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars start in the backcourt. Our officiating crew today, Jake O'Donnell, Bill Oakes, and Wally Rooney. James Edwards and Bill Cartwright will jump at center. Detroit has owned Chicago all but 6 times. The last 28 times these two have met, and Isaiah Thomas comes across in control for Detroit. Quickly, Laimbeer with the long jumper, no good. Rebound, John Paxson. Paxson looks to his left. See, he's got that brace around his right knee, and the ankle that he sprained when he stepped on Cartwright in practice on Friday. Did not practice yesterday, as Leslie Visser told you. Here's Jordan, first shot of the game, no good. Isaiah Thomas with a rebound. Rodman hurries down to post up. Isaiah Thomas looks inside. Now backs away and sets the half-court offense. 10 on the shot clock. Paxson with the foul.
So far, you see a Detroit Pistons team that uncharacteristically wants to push the ball up and explore. And when they have the isolation on a guy like Paxson, knowing that he's a bit injured, they're going to try to exploit that.
Check the matchups. There's the glamour matchup of the game. Jordan and Dumars. They will go at each other for the full 48 or as long as both are in there. Here's Jordan with the steal. It's a 2-on-1. Paxson, and a great defensive play by Isaiah Thomas.
Well, we had a chance to see 2 good defensive plays there. Michael Jordan doesn't get enough credit, and Isaiah Thomas on the other end, great, particularly at the advantage break when he's on defense.
Matter of fact, you're watching 3 members of the All-NBA defensive first team on the court today. Rodman and Dumars for Detroit, and Michael Jordan for Chicago. There's Dumars from the corner, short. Paxson, this time guarded by Dumars. Thomas on Jordan down in the post. And he's fronting him right now. There's the alley-oop for Michael. Has a big size advantage, but James Edwards with the block shot. Cartwright throws it away. Grant chases it down, saves it, throws it away again.
Both teams may be a little anxiety-ridden here, particularly in being able to develop the type of offense that they want on each end. Nevertheless, though, we're seeing excellent defense. Both teams starting to dig in right from the start.
Defense more than nerves, Lenny?
Well, certainly they're forcing the passes away. There was a great block there on Michael Jordan in the last Bulls possession. So you got to give the defense some credit.
Here's Edwards. Still no score in the game. Grant with the rebound. We played 2 minutes. It's zip-zip. Pippen. Double team from Laimbeer. Back to Jordan for 3. Got it. The drought is broken.
And certainly the Jordan rules don't apply when you're 23, 24 feet from the basket and there's no help. Joe Dumars could just put a hand in Jordan's face.
Michael is now 11 of 30 from three-point range in the playoffs. Here's Isaiah Thomas. Not there. Paxson, Pippen hurrying down court. This time Isaiah Thomas draws a defensive assignment on Paxson, and a foul underneath on Bill Laimbeer. Chuck Daly working on 7 years as head coach, 7 years in the playoffs, last 4 in the Eastern Conference Finals, and of course the defending world champions. Jordan and Dumars. Bill Cartwright, who's had shooting problems in the playoffs, and air ball with his first effort. He's only shooting 42%.
A lot of people have complained that Billy Cartwright has become Mr. Invisible, but Phil Jackson, as you see him here, really takes up for Billy, saying that it's his tendonitis that's affected his jump shot.
Another good defensive play. Here comes Detroit. It's a 3-0 Chicago lead. Laimbeer spots up for the 3.
Anytime you get a 6'11" guy shooting 3-pointers, you really don't have an awful lot of big guys that'll come out and defend him.
Jordan dishes right. Laimbeer with a rebound. Quick outlet pass to Dumars. Rodman has trouble controlling the ball and misses the layup. Gets the follow. It won't go either. Finally.
Opportunity fast break. That's what the Pistons love. They're not a fast-breaking team, but when they get those advantage situations, they'll take advantage of it every time, and Rodman is relentless.
Chicago 1 of 7 from the field. Pistons are 2 of 8. So cold shooting or good defense by both teams. Continuation foul. Count the basket.
Well, on that play, Vern, you can take your pick. It was good defense there, and it certainly wasn't cold shooting. Michael Jordan's about to warm it up. But again, you see Dennis Rodman step over a bit too late. If the Jordan rules hold true, Rodman should step over and anticipate maybe before Michael Jordan puts it on the floor, forcing Michael to throw it back outside.
Jordan completes the three-point play. 8:26 to go. First quarter. Bulls up by 1.
Right now we see the Bulls priming themselves for some full-court pressure. They like to extend themselves, particularly against the Pistons, because they feel the Pistons are prone to turn it over.
Isaiah Thomas, James Edwards. Been a big factor since he took over his starting role.
Well, he's established an inside game and taken a lot of pressure off the Pistons' perimeter game, which isn't the best in the league.
Now Jordan, the pick from Grant. Loose ball foul. No shot. The foul is on Joe Dumars. Second foul on him.
Very important right now. Michael Jordan establishing something, sending a message that he's not going to be afraid of the Jordan rules.
That got Chuck Daly off the bench because he didn't think it should have been called on Dumars. Now they've changed it, we are told, and it's on Lambeer, so Daly won the argument.
Nevertheless, though, Michael Jordan continues to attack rather than sit back and wait for the defense to come to him and react to it.
John Sally getting ready to check in. 7:43 to go, first period. Dumars pump fake. Nice move in the air. The shot again, no good. Edwards saves it, kicks it. And out of bounds, Chicago. Now John Sally makes his first appearance in Boston, replacing Bill Lambeer. John Paxson, Scottie Pippen, guarded by Dennis Rodman, the Defensive Player of the Year in the NBA. Paxson hasn't scored much of late. Here's Cartwright backing in over Sally. Gets the bounce.
Well, Bill Cartwright, we spoke earlier about the tendonitis. It's in his knee, and it affects him on his jump shot. He can't get the rise. But with the one-hand jump hook, he's very effective inside.
10-7, Chicago with an early lead. Isaiah Thomas for three. Nope. Cold shooting thus far in game 1 of this best-of-7 series, the Eastern Conference Finals. Bulls are up by 3. As an all-defensive player in the NBA, we asked Joe Dumars, how do you defend Michael Jordan?
First of all, I try to deny him the ball as much as possible. I figure, you know, can't score if he doesn't have it. And second, when he does have it, I don't do anything extra special. I rarely get steals. I rarely block shots. I just try to position myself and make him take as tough a shot as possible. Just try to make him work as hard as possible. Put some body on him. You know, basic things. It's nothing fancy. You can't do anything fancy with him.
As so often happens among great athletes, there's a mutuality of respect among Dumars and Jordan. As a matter of fact, they became very good friends at the All-Star game in Miami this year when Michael invited Joe and his wife up to his room, and the two couples became friends. He said that friendship will no doubt flourish long after their respective careers are concluded. Here's Jordan. Pump fakes over Dumars, finds the pass, Grant inside.
Well, that was great patience by Michael. He took the double team, waited for Grant to make himself available, and dished it underneath. That's what he's going to have to do. Take the double team rather than force something.
5-point lead by Chicago. Isaiah Thomas. Detroit only 3 of 11 so far. Traveling called on John Sally.
Well, so far, Detroit has been unwilling to explore inside to the post area, particularly James Edwards. And when they have looked there, it's been taken away by the Bulls. But the Pistons aren't going to second and third options. They're willing to go one-on-one. That's why they've been shooting so poorly.
So here's the pass inside. Good defense more than it is just poor shooting, Glenn.
Certainly, you have to explore, particularly in the playoffs when teams know each other so well. You have to explore your second and third options off of a play. If you just break down and try to go one-on-one, the defense is set, nobody's moving, and it's much easier.
Last foul on John Sally. Nice scoop shot, but Rodman gets the loose ball. 12-5, Chicago leads. They won game one here of the conference finals last year. That shot short. Jordan with the rebound.
Again, not looking for a real good shot inside.
Another foul on the Pistons. It's at 12-5. It's a 12-7 score with 5:53 to go.
On this end, the Pistons are having some trouble with their team defense because while they're set up to seal off some of the other guys, Michael Jordan's been the bulk of the Chicago offense, and he's really had his way in penetrating.
Detroit in the penalty, so Michael Jordan will shoot after the Isaiah Thomas foul. Jordan hitting 81% from the line in the playoffs after an 85% season from the free throw line. Interesting, though, Jordan averaging 34 points over the full season, 33.6, but against Detroit, he's averaging only 26, and more significantly, hitting only 42% of his shots. So they have his number to a degree. Underneath, nice play. James Edwards.
Excellent ball movement. That's what they have to do and continue to attack against the pressure.
Alley-oop. Jordan, trouble controlling. No trouble putting it in.
Well, if you can't get through a defense with your passing or setting up in the post, the best way is to throw over it, especially when you have a high flyer.
Michael Jordan has almost half of his average per game against Detroit. He's got 12. And Bill Cartwright's going to get called for this one.
Ball is on 24. Bill Cartwright is first, the team second. On the ball.
Well, Bill Cartwright, prior to that particular play, had been successful in pushing James Edwards out a bit, pushing him off the blocks where he likes to set up. That's why the Pistons haven't been successful with their post game.
Battle continues, Edwards and Cartwright. This time, Edwards goes baseline. Turnaround jumper is good.
Those jump shots by Joe Dumars and Isaiah Thomas become a lot easier when James Edwards is hitting from inside. Defenses can't extend.
Rodman for Detroit. Isaiah Thomas. Pippen out with a double team. John Sally guarded by Horace Grant. Nice move. Blocking foul underneath.
Well, that's a pretty difficult thing for a coach, for the defense to understand how a 7-footer can shake and bake and handle the ball outside and then slice to the lane without anyone stepping up and contesting him until he gets to the basket. You can't do that when the guy handling the ball is 7 feet tall. You've got to get him outside while he's still putting it on the floor. That's where he's most vulnerable.
Gets the first. In the sweep of Indiana in the first round of the playoffs, John Sally averaged 16 points per game and cut that average in half against New York when he averaged just 8. But just one of such a deep bench for the Pistons.
And certainly when John Sally scores a lot of points, that's an added benefit because he's a defensive player. He's a guy who blocks shots, very agile, can play a lot of positions, small forward, big forward, and center.
Lead is cut to 3. It was 7. There's Paxson. Looks inside for Cartwright. Jump hook by Cartwright. Too strong. Sally knocks it out of bounds. Miscommunication with James Edwards.
But certainly a coach, particularly Chuck Daly with his team, as much as they hustle, the effort that they give, he can't be upset with that because that's what you call a hustle play. You like to see your men on the board.
Scottie Pippen will inbound. Michael Jordan in front of Dumars. Grant for 2. Horace Grant now has 4. And the lead back to 5 at 18-15. 4 minutes to go, quarter number 1. Chicago 7 of 16. Detroit 5 of 13 thus far. Rodman posting up. Pippen fronts him for a second, and then Dumars drives it in and puts it up.
Well, Scottie Pippen gave Dennis Rodman a bit of his own medicine in battling him for the post, but what it did was open up the lane. Pippen trying to fight too much.
Jordan with a double team. Sally comes out. Scottie Pippen. Long rebound. Isaiah Thomas controls for Detroit. Alley-oop. Oh, no, went in. That went in. They give him 3 points. It went in. Unbelievable.
And you see Phil Jackson in the background is arguing that they touched the ball, and it should be offensive interference.
I don't think they did. When we get a chance, we'll look. Here's Grant at the other end. No. Thomas will say he planned it all along. Here's Dumars. Behind the back pass. Sally, foul. Shoot the free throw.
We see the pass. At least from this angle, it didn't look as though the ball was touched, but maybe the rim was, and that in itself was offensive interference. We'll never know now.
Underneath, Len Elmore.
Well, you see there is contact made with the net and the rim right here. Now, I know the rules state that you can't put your hand through the rim. There should be some language in there speaking of making contact with the rim while the ball's in the downward flight.
We're frantically looking it up as a matter of fact.
Well, see, that never happened to me. All mine were good.
John, yes, I know, especially from that range, right? And you, the defensive specialist in the NBA, right? John Sally. Isaiah Thomas tried to make the pass and went in for what was counted as a three-pointer. We are tied at 18. Let's check in with Leslie Visser. Les?
Vern, in the huddle just then, Chuck Daly told his team that he wants them to execute on the offensive end. He said, don't settle for 20-foot shots. Defensively, what a surprise. He wants them to get up on Michael Jordan.
Okay, Les. John Sally back at the free throw line. Probably the most gregarious of the Detroit Pistons. Matter of fact, he has purchased a 62-room house in downtown Detroit near 7 Mile Road. We asked him before the game, it's got 15 bedrooms, said, have you furnished them all yet? And he said, nope, not until I get a new contract. He said, I've got visions of a 62-room house, and they say, guess what, you're going to Sacramento. Paxson, as Sally hits 1 of 2. 2:54 to go, first quarter. Cartwright can't handle it. Stacey King has come into the game now for the Chicago Bulls. Isaiah Thomas looks underneath for Edwards, posting up on King. There's the double team. Cartwright. Jordan tips it away. Rodman chases it down. John Sally. Cartwright's going to get shoved. The call for shoving James Edwards.
Well, the Bulls' defensive execution worked up until that last particular play. Ball goes inside to James Edwards, forces him to dump it back outside. They cover every swing of the ball, force an outside shot, but Bill Cartwright fouls on the rebound. But by covering each movement of the ball and forcing the Pistons to shoot from outside, the Bulls have really accomplished what they set out to do.
James Edwards, the 14-year vet out of the University of Washington, misses the first. Phil Jackson looks on. What a season Edwards is having. Last year, the last 2 years in the playoffs, he averaged about 6 points a game. This year, 18 per ball game. And it's a Piston lead of 20 to 18. They once trailed by 7. Jordan, Benny Johnson has come in the lineup now. And he is guarding Jordan. There's Michael. Got it. So let's check the lineup for Detroit. It's Isaiah Thomas, Rodman, Sally, Johnson, and James Edwards. For the Pistons, Paxson, Grant, King, Jordan, and Bill Cartwright. Tied at 20. Edwards rims out.
Just had a chance to see James Edwards, why he's so effective. He gets his head and shoulders low and past you and goes up. Very difficult for a postman to guard him.
Now look at the triple team as Sally and Rodman collapsed on Jordan, and Jordan is still down. Michael is on the floor. Here's Sally underneath. Shot no good. Jordan just now getting to his feet, but limping badly. John Paxson penetrates. Nice scoop shot, but it didn't get the spin. Jordan is now running up at the other end, and Edwards lays it in. (22-20). See how badly he might be injured. 22nd timeout called by Chicago to check the Jordan injury.
Well, at the beginning of the telecast, we mentioned how physical Detroit plays defense. Here, 3 guys sandwich Michael Jordan. He puts it up. Now, Michael Jordan goes down. He's in obvious pain. And here from another angle, we see the 3 guys in the lane, and they want to seal him away from the basket. But being in such obvious pain, as the ball went down on the other side, Jordan gets back up. Here again, the implementation of the Jordan rules. 3 guys are going to be around him at every turn, particularly when he's about to shoot the ball and make him work. But as much pain as he's in there, he still jumps up and runs down on the other end on the defensive end. Now, the reason he has to do that, one, is not to let Detroit believe that they can intimidate him with that type of penetration and then the bumps. And the other thing is to show his teammates he's still in the game. He has to be an example because he's the leader on this team.
Saw Sally, Rodman, and Vinnie Johnson. All 3 collapse on him. Now Craig Hodges has entered the game for the first time for Chicago. There's the inside pass. Stacey King from Michael Jordan. Leslie Visser checked with the Chicago trainer, and Michael landed on his hip, so it's the hip that bothered him. But he will.
Not only that, Vern, he went to the same exact spot where he was knocked down. The 3 guys came back on, and this time he made good of it.
Vinnie Johnson over Jordan. 24-22, final 43 seconds. Quarter number 1 from the Palace in Auburn Hills. Vern Lundquist, along with Len Elmore and Leslie Visser. Rebound Detroit. Isaiah Thomas tries to save it, and it goes off Horace Grant. It'll be Detroit's the inbound. Now Scottie Pippen going to come back in, and Michael Jordan will get a rest. No, he won't. Thought he was going to go out. But he is obviously favoring that left hip. B.J. Armstrong will enter the game.
Certainly not the way Michael Jordan wants to start this series, nor the Chicago Bulls. Hopefully it's not a real serious injury. You got Dennis Rodman on the other side who seems to be hurt. But both guys are going to see a lot of ice right now.
Rodman just hopped off the court, and he's being tended to by Mike Abdenauer, the Detroit trainer. So Jordan and Rodman on the bench with injuries. Final 20 seconds, first quarter, and a 2-point Detroit lead. Thomas isolated on B.J. Armstrong, who's averaged 20 points in the playoffs for Chicago. Skip pass, Aguirre in. That shot no good. Armstrong loses control. Hodges backs up for a 3-point effort. Tipped away by Aguirre. That's the end of the first period with our score. Detroit 24, Chicago 22.
He'll be back. Vern?
As a matter of fact, Leslie, Dennis Rodman was sprinting up and down the side of the court, testing that left ankle. No such activity from Michael Jordan, who continues trying to ease the pain of that left hip. So Rodman and Jordan remain on the bench as we start quarter number 2, with the Pistons up by 2, having trailed by 7 at one point, 14-7.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what the Pistons defense does now without Michael Jordan. That's been their main focus. And without him, it seems as though they want to extend their defense a little more, put some pressure on B.J. Armstrong.
Well, they just did. Here's Isaiah Thomas, who has a world of experience. Sally with a follow. B.J. Armstrong, the rookie out of Iowa, with Craig Hodges in the backcourt.
Well, Phil Jackson has some relatively young and inexperienced players, particularly from the playoff, out here on the floor. He's got to be very careful that they don't self-destruct and get this crowd really into this game, because that could destroy the confidence that they had coming into this game.
Stacey King, fellow rookie from Oklahoma. Let's watch Isaiah Thomas with the quick hands.
Well, Isaiah Thomas is a master. He's been around a long time. He takes the rookie to school at that point. And those are the things, a nice follow by Sally, but those are the things that'll take the confidence away of a rookie in a big playoff series.
Joe Dumars back in to give Isaiah Thomas a rest. James Edwards, big rebound, knocked away by Scottie Pippen, then controlled by Joe Dumars. 4-point Detroit edge. Vinnie Johnson, Edwards. There's Johnson driving by Hodges. The ball stripped, but Edwards, who is 4 of 6, is now 4 of 7. Armstrong comes out for Chicago. 3-on-2 break. Scottie Pippen with Mark Aguirre guarding him. Hodges for three. No.
I'm sure Phil would want to see the Bulls work for a better shot than that, but defensively they made a stand and kind of regained their footing.
Aguirre had a huge game in Game 4 against New York. 17 in the second quarter. Now back it comes to Armstrong. Nice pass underneath.
Well, again, the foundation is the defense. Chicago, a much better defensive team this year, creates the turnovers, and then B.J. Armstrong didn't lose his confidence from the steal. Comes down with a nice assist, a nice look inside the middle.
Dumars will test Armstrong now. Backs in. Edwards waits. Foul on B.J. Armstrong. Ed Neely is going to make his first appearance for the Chicago Bulls, and Bill Laimbeer is getting ready to check back in. Time has been called with the Pistons up by 2. Won a Game 7 in the West yesterday as Portland outlasted San Antonio by 3 in overtime. Terry Porter with a huge game, 36 points and 9 assists. Portland goes on to face Phoenix now in the Western Conference playoffs. That best-of-7 series starts tomorrow night. Then they'll continue Wednesday at Portland, Friday at Phoenix. Lenny and I will be in Phoenix next Sunday for Game 4, and then 5, 6, and 7 respectively at Portland, Phoenix, and Portland. And coming next on CBS, round 4 of the Southwestern Colonial Bell Golf Tournament from Fort Worth. Curtis Strange and Ben Crenshaw are tied after 3. They had a rain delay this morning, something the Texans are getting used to in the last month. Boy, have they had deluges down there. But round 4, the final round of the Colonial, with Crenshaw and Strange tied as they tee off in the final round. Now back to play here with 9:53 to go in a half. And illegal defense called against the Chicago Bulls. That's the first. That's a warning.
We take a look at bench scoring here. Detroit has the edge so far, but B.J. Armstrong for the Bulls, he and Stacey King have really emerged as major contributors for the Bulls. They've done a nice job in the Philadelphia series, and they're going to be counted on a lot in this series.
Vinnie Johnson, one of the bench members for the Detroit Pistons, gets 2 more, so it's a 9-2 edge now. As a matter of fact, Detroit had the edge over the full season in bench scoring. Their bench outscored Chicago's 148 to 102 in the 5 regular season games. Here's Stacey King. And here are the Bulls with 2 rookies, although at this point of the season they can't really be called rookies anymore. And that shot will count? No, it will not. Johnson can't believe it. Thought he was going to get the basket.
Well, the difference, obviously, between the benches is a maturity factor as much as talent. And as we see Michael Jordan about to re-enter the game, the maturity of the Pistons bench with Vinnie Johnson and Mark Aguirre and John Sally, they really could be starters anywhere else, obviously, but they know what their roles are, and it's been very defined. The Bulls rookies are still finding their way, but as they have in the Milwaukee series and in the Philadelphia series, they've come on very strong.
Dumars and Johnson with Laimbeer, Aguirre, and Rodman on the court. Michael Jordan back in. Aguirre strong to the basket. And I think they called it on Mark Aguirre. Yes. 9 minutes to go, first half. 4-point Piston lead. Jordan back in. He was 5 of 8 and had 14 points when he went to the bench with that hip injury. Underneath, as Johnson guards Jordan. Illegal defense. Detroit. That's their first. And a warning.
Considering the Detroit's Jordan rules, that should never happen. Michael Jordan isolated on the strong side, cleared out. They should always have a guy over there if they're adhering to the rules, but that time they just had people kind of in between.
Somebody not paying attention. Jordan and Johnson saw Dumars come over to help. Loose ball chased down by Stacey King. For 3. Nope. Bodies falling down at the baseline. And here's Joe Dumars. Now Vinnie Johnson guarded by B.J. Armstrong. Nice rebound by Scottie Pippen.
Well, you got to give the Bulls a lot of credit defensively. They've been doing a nice job in facing up to the shooters and taking over inside, not letting them get more than one shot.
Ed Neely. Quickly underneath and 2 more.
Well, that matchup will emerge as this series grows. Pippen against Dennis Rodman. That time Scottie Pippen snaked to the basket. He got the better of it.
Phil Jackson was talking with us last night about this Detroit team, NBA champions, and of course they've earned the title mostly on defense. Here's Dumars for 2, but they do get shots like that. He said, here's what I think about their offense. It is not aesthetically pleasing, but it's very effective.
It's certainly versatile. They have enough weapons out there to use.
Pippen got away with a shove on Rodman and goes off the glass for 2.
Well, what's happening right now, Dennis Rodman throughout the season, the NBA's best defensive player, has been known to take flops, as they call them. That time, in the official's opinion, there wasn't enough energy behind that push to really cause a foul, according to the official.
Daly is arguing about that over on the bench. Let's watch and see the flop.
See the degree of difficulty here. Now, the intent certainly was there. Now, whether or not there was enough to call a foul remains to be seen.
Chased down by Armstrong. Nice save. Good defense by Chicago. And a chance to tie. King rejected underneath Lambert and Rodman both got there. 6:56 to go in the first half. And Detroit is up by 2 with a 30-28 lead.
Schick, the official razor of the NBA, presents Close Shaves. For the second year in a row, Philadelphia's 3-1 advantage in the Eastern Conference Finals evaporates in the face of a Boston comeback. For Philadelphia, it seems hopeless to overcome the ghost of the Celtics past in Boston Garden. But this year, the Sixers will not fold under the pressure of Game 7 as they earn their way into the NBA Finals with a close shave series victory.
Let me get to 13. Thus far through the playoffs, we're going to miss the Lakers and the Celtics. First time in 11 years they've not been in the finals. Portland back in. Congratulations to the Trailblazers. Conference final first time since '77, and the home court advantage has held true. And at least Glenn Elmore, thus far here in the Palace, a 2-point edge for the Pistons, but Chicago playing very well thus far.
Well, defensively particularly, both teams are sealing off the middle, forcing a lot of perimeter shots. Neither one of them are the great perimeter shooters of the NBA, but they are playing hard-nosed and not allowing easy baskets, and that's very important at this stage.
Scottie Pippen, scoop shot under Bill Lambert, and we're tied at 30. Largest lead of the game was a 7-point margin for Chicago at 14-7. Detroit came back to tie it up at 18, and they've had a 4-point edge as their largest. Here's Lambert for 2. The rebound, Armstrong. DJ using the pick from Neely. Pippen posts up against Rodman. Illegal defense. That's the second, so Chicago will shoot the technical.
And it's very interesting that the Bulls in this particular set came back. You see Chuck Daly with a look of disbelief, or whatever look that is right there. But it was interesting on the last play that the Bulls came out and set up a play to go right at Dennis Rodman. Again, we mentioned he's the best defensive player, as voted by the players and sports writers, the best defensive player in the NBA. Now they're going at him, which leads me to believe that Phil Jackson is really going to attack the strengths of the Pistons because they're doing such a good job, the Bulls are, defensively.
Now Scottie Pippen, whoops, lost it. McGuire has it. Here's the fast break to Johnson. Jordan hurries back. And Johnson was harassed by Michael Jordan. Dumars comes down for Detroit. Under 6 minutes to go in the first half. Game 1, conference finals, best of 7. From the baseline, Benny Johnson.
Detroit with a nice job of spreading the Bulls out, forcing them to cover every perimeter player, and no one got to Benny Johnson.
Michael Jordan scoreless in this quarter. Injured his left hip late first period. Ed Neely. Lambert, little volleyball, and then Lambert comes down with it. Johnson looks back to Rodman. And Horace Grant gets right in the middle of things, and a loose ball foul.
Loose ball on Vinny Johnson.
Called on Vinny Johnson.
Well, if there's something that the Pistons aren't altogether comfortable with, that is a fast break situation without Isaiah Thomas leading it. And that time, they really didn't execute well. There wasn't enough spacing. One player could guard both Rodman and Vinny Johnson.
Cartwright and Grant come back in for Chicago. Chuck Daly counters with James Edwards and Isaiah Thomas. Vinny Johnson and Bill Laimbeer will get a rest for the Detroit Pistons. Rebounds now, the edge by 6 for Detroit. Look for the backdoor play. Cartwright. Thomas way up for the rebound. 32-31 Pistons, nearing the 5-minute mark in the first half. Good defensive job by Michael Jordan on Joe Dumars. Back to Edwards. Jordan comes down with it for Chicago. Michael, 2 more. First 2 of the quarter. He's got 16.
Open floor. Open floor situation. Michael Jordan, as he comes up limping again. The Jordan rules don't apply when there's an open floor. People have to get to him, and Detroit's very slow in doing so.
Keep your eye on Jordan. He's limping. Now left side, long jumper, Isaiah Thomas. Mark McGuire with the putback. That's his first basket.
One of the few times the Bulls have allowed second shot opportunity.
Jordan will shoot a couple.
You see in the open floor, this is a transition basket. Michael Jordan down the right sideline. Off balance, he goes down. Mark McGuire wants to step over him rather than help him up. But those are the areas where he's most dangerous, coming down the sideline. If you don't get the help there quick enough, he's going to be in the paint before you know it. Then it's all she wrote there.
You can see how his career scoring playoff average has dropped against Detroit. It's still pretty gaudy at 29 points per game, but his scoring average against other teams is outrageous. 4:05 to go before halftime. Thomas, nice bounce pass to McGuire. And Mark McGuire having a little bit of offensive trouble here in quarter number 2. McGuire with his lowest scoring average this year since he's come in the league. No bounce to Jordan, and Rodman clears it for Detroit. McGuire scoring at 14 points in his new role as a 6th man this year for the Pistons. Coming over from Dallas for Adrian Dantley last year. Underneath, Scottie Pippen fouls McGuire. He's posting up.
Fouls on Scottie Pippen, the 17th.
Well, coming up at halftime, we've got Pat O'Brien and Bill Raftery with the NBA lottery, as 11 teams vie for the right to make the first pick in the NBA draft. That's coming up at halftime. Jordan gets the foul.
Well, 2 possessions. Detroit has recognized that they do have some openings inside. Previously, they hadn't been able to get the ball into the post, but Mark McGuire is too strong for Scottie Pippen when he catches him on the post, and they're trying to post up Michael Jordan inside.
14th foul next time they go in the penalty. There's Jordan guarding Rodman down low. Dumars for 3. No. Battle for it. Edwards. Scottie Pippen. Good job of hustling. Now we'll slow it down and bring it back out. Rodman and Jordan this time. Blocking foul. Dennis Rodman. Fouled by Jake O'Donnell to the dismay of this sellout crowd. And Jordan's on the floor again.
As I mentioned before, Dennis Rodman, being the great defensive player he is, has a tendency to flop. He goes to the well much too often right there. Gets his feet tangled up with Michael Jordan.
Time has been called by Chicago. They stopped the clock with 3:02 to go in the first half. They're up by 1. 2 to go before halftime. Underneath, B.J. Armstrong disconnects with Scottie Pippen. 2:59 to go before halftime. 35-34. Let's check the lineups now. Dumars, Rodman, Edwards, Aguirre, and Thomas for Detroit. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Grant, Armstrong. That shot no good. Cartwright. No, not Cartwright. Whoa! Edwards.
We apologize to all you lip readers out there. But you take a look at this play here on the lower right side of your screen. The only thing that could have been called was that James Edwards was holding on before he was knocked down.
And after all of that, Bill Cartwright goes to the other end. Cartwright, 81% over the regular season, but struggling in the free throw line as he has been from the field. He's hitting only 68%. He gets 1 of 2. Let's check in with Leslie Visser. Les?
Vern and Lenny, during the last time out, Chuck Daly told his team to work defensively. He said, don't let Jordan split the defense, and he emphatically repeated, keep working, keep working. On the other end, Phil Jackson wants his team to take better care of the long rebounds.
There's one right there, tipped out. Michael Jordan. Jordan, short with a shot. Tipped back, Edwards chases it down. It's going to be Detroit.
Well, with the long rebounds, you know that there are a lot of shots being taken outside of the free throw line, and both teams, again, doing a nice job inside, taking away the paint point.
Isaiah Thomas. Aguirre. Horace Grant, short. Aguirre not having a good quarter.
The other thing both teams are doing is limiting the others to only one shot. 1 offensive rebound for Chicago, 3 for Detroit.
Armstrong, no. Chased down by Detroit. Aguirre has it. He's 1 for 5 in this quarter now from the field. As a team, Detroit is 14 of 41. And Chicago 14 of 40. 1:35 to go. Grant or Cartwright? Who gets it?
Well, you got to wonder why Grant would foul James Edwards. At the rate both teams are shooting from outside, it's a safer bet to allow him to shoot with a hand in his face and go to the boards. You can't give them easy points, which James Edwards, a pretty good free throw shooter, is about to do right now. He's shooting about 76% from the line during the playoff series. Kiss of death.
At the conclusion of our game, Len Elmore and I will select the Miller Lite Player of the Game. In conjunction with that award, Light Beer will present a check in the amount of $1,000 in the player's name to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. Edwards misses both. Ed Neely comes on the court now for the final 90 seconds of the first half for Chicago. 36-34, Chicago up. As we said, they won game 1 here last year, traveling B.J. Armstrong. Striking his right foot, Jake O'Donnell calls it, turns and runs the other direction. Why do I have a feeling that years from now Armstrong might get away with that?
All you have to do is establish that reputation. But again, a foul on a shot that could have been defended and an easy turnover. Chicago can't self-destruct now.
Illegal defense, Chicago, that's their second. So Detroit will shoot the technical now. Phil Jackson. Dumars gets the technical. Brings the Pistons within 1. Michael Jordan, as we said, went out with a hip injury at the end of the first quarter. Have you noticed a deficiency in his play or a dropped element of it?
Well, no, certainly when he gets his hands on the ball.
No, there's
right
the answer.
Now, and we'll see here.
Thank you.
But now that he doesn't have the ball, he's limping back.
Reminds me of what's the most important element of comedy? Timing.
Well, the ball certainly can be a magic elixir in the hands of creative people like Michael Jordan, injury or no injury.
Dumars counters over Jordan. Final 45 seconds now in the first half.
Actually, that's where it'll tell. Defensively, Michael Jordan would be in trouble on defense right now.
In the corner, B.J. Armstrong. Jordan, there's the triple on Jordan, and he goes right over Thomas and Rodman and Dumars.
And he's limping again after he lets go of the ball. And as I said, defensively is where he has his difficulty.
8 of 14 now for Michael Jordan. So he's 3 of 6 since the injury. Dumars, nice drive along the baseline, but short with the shot. Edwards. Now watch Michael Jordan's defensive effort.
Well, there, James Edwards just fell asleep. And as I said, you know, that little salve that you rub on little hurts. The ball is the same thing when you got great players. And he limps after he lets it go. Defensively, though, on the last play, Joe Dumars went around Michael Jordan as if he were standing still. That's where he has the difficulty in reacting.
Edwards misses his 3rd consecutive free throw. And he's only 1 of 5. Craig Hodges going to check back in for the Bulls now. Billy Cartwright goes out. So Jordan, Hodges, and B.J. Armstrong for the final possession for Chicago. Get the shooters in there.
Well, looking forward to the second half, the Bulls have to beware. They've got 2 banged-up guards in Michael Jordan and John Paxson. And what's going to happen is Craig Hodges, B.J. Armstrong are going to have to step up the level of their play a bit to pick up where Michael Jordan left off, particularly in this half, since he's been the bulk of the offense.
Dumars gets the loose ball and puts it in. 12 seconds before halftime. Do you believe? Of course you do. Michael Jordan's 3-pointer at the buzzer. Watch the mid-air adjustment. Len Elmore.
Well, again, we mentioned reaction on defense. When you're on offense, you're creating. You don't have any pain.
That's the end of the first half with our score. Chicago 43, Detroit 39. Pat O'Brien and Bill Raftery, along with the Prudential at the half. After this message. First half, Len.
Well, so far they've done a great job defensively.
As we said in game 1 here a year ago, they won the opener, lost game 2, went back to Chicago and won game 3, so they were up 2 games to 1. But then the Pistons won 3 in a row and captured the best-of-7 series 4 games to 2. Underneath it goes to Bill Cartwright. Turnaround jump hook, no good. Rebound, Rodman. Check the lineups as we start the second half. Isaiah Thomas, Rodman, Lambier, James Edwards, and Joe Dumars for Detroit. John Paxson will give it a go at the start. Here's Isaiah Thomas for 3. No. Lambier with the putback. Loose ball, foul, no basket. Foul on Lambier.
Well, when you don't get good position underneath, you're forced to push off. And that time, Bill Lambier was blocked off and used his arm to push off. Pretty much, though, again, Chicago doing a nice job of trying to prevent Detroit from posting up and forcing the outside shot.
That's the 3rd foul on Lambier, who's only 1 of 3 from the field. Jordan, too strong. Another loose ball foul. That's on Scottie Pippen. That's his 3rd. Phil Jackson got a technical. So
I was going to say, you have to believe that Phil Jackson made that a strategic type of technical. He doesn't want his team to get manhandled. They're going to be on defense in front of his bench right now, and that's sending a message to the officials that he's not going to stand for allowing his guys to get roughed around and then not have it called on the other end. I don't see why it was done at this point, because there was balance. The Pistons called for a loose ball on one end, the Bulls on the other.
Joe Dumars got the free throw, and Detroit has the ball trailing by 3, 11:05 to go, 3rd quarter. Isaiah bounces it back. That's going to be an over and back as soon as it's touched. And Chuck Daly is not pleased at all. Interesting scenario here in the Palace prior to the game. A half an hour before the tap, Chuck Daly was doing his coach's show live. Certain relaxed air about it. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. That ball out of bounds. Chicago controls.
Well, Chuck is not the only one who may have had potential distractions here. His team, with the long layoff, they seem to have come out here pretty flat, and not so much from a playing standpoint, but from a mental standpoint. You don't see the intensity, at least in the first half you didn't, as you thought you would from the Pistons.
Jordan, good pick from Pippen on the pick and roll. And then a good defensive effort from James Edwards. Chased down by Rodman. Isaiah Thomas, Paxson right there. Back to Lambeer, who spots up for three. Air ball. Michael Jordan at the other end. Scottie Pippen tipped away by Thomas. Detroit ball.
Well, that might be a start to increased intensity, particularly on the defensive end. Isaiah Thomas hustling back to get a hand on the ball. But if you look at the pace of this game, Detroit has dictated it, but it's played into the hands of the Bulls. They're able to get back and set up defensively nicely and do the job that they've been doing.
Dumars, Jordan right there to deny him the baseline. 6 on the shot clock. Back to Isaiah. Stripped. Jordan controls. Tipped out of bounds. Lambeer touched it last. It'll be Chicago's ball. Well, this is a Detroit team, Lenny, that hit 53% against Chicago in the first 5 games of regular season and only 36% so far. Watch the defense.
This is one of the reasons why Michael Jordan does a nice job, he and Bill Cartwright, in slowing the movement of the ball and then stripping Isaiah Thomas on the perimeter.
Stripped again. Other end, Dumars. That's 2.
Well, it's the defense that creates the momentum, particularly for the Pistons. They have to get out here and scratch and claw a little bit more in their half-court defense.
Ramp. Air ball. On the line, Detroit ball. Well, in talking about this Piston team, Phil Jackson said they play such great defense, and then on offense they just look for a weak link, try and exploit it. And it's worked very effectively. 43-42 from the corner. Pippen for Chicago. At the other end, Jordan, too strong.
Both teams with the opportunities, but they just can't connect. And just to further amplify what Phil Jackson said, the thing that he's most worried about, particularly in the beginning of a half like this in a close game, is Detroit playing good defense and going on a run that kind of takes them out of reach. Right now the Bulls have held their ground.
Thomas. Edwards. Boy, Cartwright with the rebound. Detroit can't solve the Chicago defensive puzzle thus far. Horace Grant. Right side, Cartwright might have gotten away with a shove, and he puts the putback is in. 45-42, 8.5. This crowd getting a little restless now.
Well, again, the Pistons are walking the ball up, and meanwhile, that's their style. But nevertheless, Chicago is back, able to set up, get people in the paint to prevent the post-ups, and now force Detroit to take shots with the clock running down.
Cartwright gets caught in the switch and fouls Isaiah Thomas. That's 3 on Bill Cartwright. So he and Lambeer have 3, and Scottie Pippen has 3.
You take a look at this play. Good defense here. Cartwright steps out. He just doesn't close the door on Isaiah Thomas by taking the angle away. But before that foul, the shot clock had gone down to 6. And that's what the Bulls have done. They've forced Detroit to take some shots with the clock running down to almost 0 in 4 seconds.
Dumars on Pippen, goes by him and gets 2. MVP of last year's finals with a 27-point per game average, Joe Dumars. Michael Jordan in the corner, quick ball rotation to Pippen for 3. Grant saves it. Edwards back to Pippen. Finger roll for 2.
Give Cartwright a lot of credit for challenging James Edwards on that rebound.
Dumars. He's got 16.
And the guy who leads by example, Joe Dumars, has now stepped up a little bit and taken on some of the offensive load for the Pistons until the whole team gets in track.
There's Rodman, the double team on Jordan. Quickly in the corner to Paxson. They come flying at him, and he puts it in the air. At the other end, here's Dumars for 2. Timeout, Chicago. Detroit, led by Joe Dumars, has reclaimed the lead.
because while it's not always advisable to have two guys on the ball, you give them an A for effort. The rebound goes to Lambier, and Joe Dumars again steps forward to pick up the offense for the Pistons. But what's happened is Detroit brought the crowd back into the game, something that they need to lift their emotional spirits and also to increase their effort.
Joe Dumars with 9 third-quarter points, most on layups. Here's Jordan. Chased down by James Edwards. Detroit now 4 of 8 from the field before the basket.
Foul is on Horace Grant.
Horace Grant picks up the foul. That's his second. And Detroit will put it in bounds. B.J. Armstrong has come on the court now for Chicago during the timeout, and Will Perdue getting ready to make his first entrance in the ballgame. Armstrong guarding Isaiah Thomas. Dumars again. He's got 20, 11 in the third quarter.
They moved so well without the ball, and a backdoor cut. Isaiah Thomas found him.
Armstrong counters at the other end. And it's a 1-point Detroit edge with 6:20 to go, third quarter.
And with Dumars stepping up offensively, Detroit has gone back to their game plan by making Michael Jordan work on both ends of the floor.
Edwards, Jordan down to double team him. Illegal defense and a technical foul. 21,000 plus on hand at the Palace in Auburn Hills, Michigan, where the Pistons are 85 and 11 in the last 2 years. Been a tough place to win if you're a road team. Detroit has come from 4 down at halftime on the shooting of Joe Dumars, and he will shoot the technical foul now after the illegal defense call. Got it. Dumars had a wonderful analogy, I thought, about the success of this Detroit team when he was talked about the key to their success. He said it's versatility. We're like 12 kids in a school classroom, all of whom know the answer. And it's just a matter of who's going to get called on.
Well, that's pretty appropriate. Today, though, it took them a while. They must have conspired to find the answer. And they still haven't quite gotten it yet. But nevertheless, they're making the attempt to attack the Bulls' defense.
Loose ball, turnover, taken away by B.J. Armstrong. Perdue has come in now for the first time. There's Will Perdue. Scottie Pippen guarded by Dennis Rodman. Armstrong, Isaiah Thomas. Traveling. Second time Armstrong has been caught moving his pivot foot.
And certainly you got to believe Chuck Daly gave his team a good talking to. They came out here a little more aggressive defensively, contesting the movement of the ball, stepping up their defense, not allowing people to put it back on the floor and drive to the basket, and it's reaped some benefits for them.
John Sally on for Detroit. That loose ball will be Detroit's to inbound. Check the lineup now for Detroit. They've got Rodman and Lambier along with Sally. And at the guard spots, Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars. Stacey King checks in now for Chicago, and Perdue's appearance was ever so brief. So it's King and Pippen along with Horace Grant, Armstrong, and Michael Jordan. Oh, a quick foul on Scottie Pippen, and oh boy, that's his fourth.
Well, it's a dead ball foul. The ball hadn't been inbounded. Pippen with the push-off against Lambier. And it's one of those things where the officials may have seen the second one. Lambier stepped up to Pippen really tightly, and Pippen pushed him off.
Here's something extraordinary in the playoffs. Bill Lambier at the free throw line.
Well, certainly, up until now, over 270 minutes. I would imagine he's played a lot of minutes this game. 3 times he's made attempts at the free throw line. And for a guy 6'11", that's unbelievable.
Does that indicate to you he's probably not going to the basket?
Offensively, I would say that he's pitched a tent right around the three-point area. But, I mean, you look at his game, and really they're playing to the strengths of Bill Lambier's game. He's never been a great post-up player. He's blessed with a great touch from outside and an uncanny knack for finding people inside with his passing ability. So rather than try to change the guy, they play to that strength, and they've been very successful with it.
Well, that's his 5th free throw of the playoffs in 1990, and he gets 1 of 2. And it's a 3-point Detroit edge. Their largest lead of this ball game, 4 in the second quarter. Largest lead by Chicago was 7 in quarter number 1. Grant back to Jordan. Gets caught in mismatch with Kansas' first basket of this half. He's got 28 points now.
And then Chuck Daly jump up and scream across to the ball. Michael Jordan came off open.
Dumars over Jordan.
On this end of the floor, though, on their offensive end, you know the Pistons are going to continue to make him work.
54-51. Joe Dumars, 23 points. Michael Jordan with 28. What a matchup. And there they are. 2 more for Jordan.
That time, Bill Laimbeer stepped out to become the help person. He was supposed to go and double team Michael Jordan, but Jordan got to the corner so quickly, Laimbeer just couldn't catch up with him.
1 point, Detroit edge. Armstrong seeing a lot of action because of the injury and relative ineffectiveness to John Paxson. Sprained ankle. Underneath to Sally. Off the glass over Stacey King.
The Bulls have now come out and contested the Pistons as the Pistons spread their offense, and that's opened it up inside.
Grant for Chicago. Can't shake him.
Well, this is a good opportunity for the versatility of the Bulls offense to come to fore. Horace Grant has got to get involved as well as Scottie Pippen.
Pick set by Bill Laimbeer. There's the pick and fade rather than a pick and roll. He spots up to the 3. And the shot no good at the other end, but Thomas. Loose ball foul. On Isaiah Thomas.
I think they should have called it on John Sally. It looked as though it was Sally who was doing the holding inside of Stacey King.
56-55. Vinnie Johnson getting ready to come back on the court for the Detroit Pistons. Armstrong, give him the shot. They'll give him that shot all day. Here's Dumars for Detroit. Back to Thomas. Caught Laimbeer free. Sally.
3 seconds.
Isaiah Thomas.
Good defense by the Bulls, but when Isaiah Thomas wants to get a shot, he's going to get it.
And another foul called at the other end. Time has been called. The foul is called on John Sally. It's Detroit by 3.
In today's higher revving and
Kelly mentioned he didn't want Michael Jordan to get the ball at his waist because that's a triple threat position. Michael Jordan can now look inside for the pass, put it on the floor and go either way or shoot the jump shot. You got to crowd him. And that time Bill Laimbeer just stepped out, really didn't contest it. And you see the result.
30 points for Michael Jordan, playing with an injured left hip and a bruised right hip, I think. 58-55, 2:59 to go, quarter number 3.
And when you look at any player, any fundamentally sound player who gets in the triple threat position, they usually can do something to help their team and hurt you defensively. But you add a Michael Jordan to that equation, and it's really going to be a hard night for you if you allow him to get it where he wants it, and that is on the hip.
Armstrong is guarded by Vinnie Johnson. Ed Neely's come on for Chicago as well. There's Dumars and Johnson. Jordan for 3. That one no good. Laimbeer saves it for Detroit. And a chance for the largest lead of the game now for the Pistons.
That shot maybe is out of Michael Jordan's range if there is such a thing. But that's the kind of shot the Pistons can live with.
Jordan will guard Vinnie Johnson this time down, and they put Armstrong on Dumars, who posts him up and hits the jumper.
Well, it's the consummate pro again against the learning and eager rookie. The little bump is what froze Armstrong.
Largest lead of the ball game now for the Detroit Pistons. Stacey King, left-handed hook.
Well, Stacey King has come on strong for the Bulls, as we mentioned before. Offensively, he's matured an awful lot and given them a post threat.
Dumars 11 of 18 now, and 25 points. There's the switch. Lampier with a pump fake and goes by Pippen.
You don't draw too many fouls doing that. But you make your coach happy.
When it goes in, and it usually does when Lampier hits that shot. Final 90 seconds, quarter number 3, a 5-point edge. Here in Game 1, Eastern Conference Finals. Nice drive in the dish. Armstrong to Ed Neely.
Well, that's the triumvirate that's done such a great job off the bench. Stacey King, B.J. Armstrong, and now Ed Neely, who's come off. Ed Neely almost single-handedly won a game for Philadelphia with his play off the bench.
Surprised they're going to keep Armstrong on Dumas. Here's Johnson. And he'll shoot a couple. And players are down. Benny Johnson. Scottie Pippen picks up his 5th foul. And the concern right now with Benny Johnson.
We see Michael Jordan on Benny Johnson. The crossover as Michael turned his head. Pretty tough call on Scott Pippen, who may have reached in just a bit, but it didn't look as though it interfered in any way with Benny Johnson's movement towards the basket. So Vern, getting back to your question before and asking me, am I surprised that B.J. Armstrong is still on Joe Dumars? Michael Jordan has to have a rest at some point.
Okay.
Now, he's not going to get much of a rest with Vinnie Johnson and Joe Dumars in the backcourt, but I think that Vinnie Johnson's limited range to a certain extent allows Michael Jordan to play off him a bit, and then the rest there.
Here's Armstrong, who will be guarded at the other end by Vinnie Johnson. 64-59, back to a 5-point margin. Illegal defense against Detroit, so Chicago will shoot the technical. Michael Jordan scoring by the guards, Jordan and Dumars. 30 points for Michael Jordan, 25 for Joe Dumars. And they're matched up, have been for most of the game today.
And the thing about Joe Dumars is that he's not a gaudy type player. You look at the third quarter, 16 points. He gives it to his team when they need it most. And at the beginning of the third quarter, they had to come out here and establish some type of offense, and Joe Dumars was the man.
Good ball denial by Jerome Sally. John Sally, I don't know where Jerome came from all of a sudden. Dumars. 2 more. .66-60. Ed Neely. And he'll shoot a couple.
And in the bottom left-hand side of your screen, a moment ago, Joe Dumars approached official Wally Rooney and asked him the license plate of that truck that hit him. Number 45, Ed Neely throwing his body around inside. He's the physical presence that's necessary for the Bulls to really stay competitive. He knocks people around, he frees people up with his picks. And the bonus is that he gets around the basket, has good hands, and is able to get the dish off. You see the drive here by Michael Jordan.
Oh, boy.
And again, the physical presence in there. Dennis Rodman knows who he is.
Neely misses both. The lead stays at 6. And Detroit will have a chance for the last shot of the third quarter. Joe Dumars has been on fire in quarter number 3 with 18 points. Blocked by Horace Grant. And he picks up his 3rd foul. Lampier is going to more than double his number of free throws in the previous playoff games. He's going back to the line.
Well, particularly on that jump shot. It's a nice little technique for guys that are running out at you. He takes the jumper, but his legs are still kicked out, and it makes it difficult for the guy defending not to make contact with you as he goes by.
Lampier now 1 of 3.
And when you don't get to the line that often, you really magnify your displeasure with a miss.
Lead is 7. Intercepted by Dumars. In the third quarter, the Detroit Pistons outscored Chicago by 11 points. That's the end of the third with our score. Detroit 67, Chicago 60. We'll return to the Palace of Auburn Hills. We begin the fourth quarter. Aguirre has come in now with Joe Dumars, John Sally, Vinnie Johnson, and Bill Lambier. B.J. Armstrong still draws the defensive assignment. On Dumars, the shot, no. Ed Neely pulls it down for the Bulls. It's King and Pippen playing with 5 fouls along with Hodges. There's the entry pass. Stacey King. Bill Lambier yelled offense, and Jake O'Donnell said
Stacey King with that acrobatic attempt at the basket still has a little trouble in gaining the handle of the ball when it's passing him in traffic. But you look at the Chicago offense right now without Michael Jordan in. They've got a front line of Pippen, King, and Neely, and really it's Scott Pippen who's going to have to now unburden himself with whatever he's doing and get involved in the offense a little more. He's the big threat on the floor right there. Maybe Craig Hodges from 3 points.
Pippen with 8 points and playing with 5 fouls. Stacey King, there's Michael getting a rest as Phil Jackson rests him at the start of the fourth quarter. Armstrong, 10-second count underway. They're going to have to hurry. Made it. Lambier. Neely, quick outlet pass. Stacey King.
Well, that's one of the ways you hide the weakness on the offense is to go out there, apply pressure, run the clock down, make the other team go out of its offensive pattern so you can get the rebound and come back and set up.
Hodges back to Pippen over Vinnie Johnson. Short with a 3-pointer, and he'd started down at the other end. Didn't follow the shot. 5-point Detroit edge. We played 1 minute and 5 seconds of the fourth quarter. Two teams play here on Tuesday night, and games 3 and 4 next weekend, Memorial Day weekend on CBS. Lambier for 2.
Good job by Aguirre in drawing the defenders to him under the basket and seeing a cutting Lambier go to the basket.
Johnson guards Hodges, Dumars on Armstrong. King sets a back screen for Craig Hodges. There's Stacey King, and he'll shoot a couple more. Fourth foul on Bill Lambier. Isaiah Thomas back into the lineup, and Joe Dumars will get a rest. James Edwards also going to re-enter the floor for Detroit. Lambier sitting down with his 4th foul. Michael Jordan comes back on, replacing B.J. Armstrong for the Bulls.
Little chess game here, Chuck Daly and Phil Jackson. Chuck Daly recognizing that there's a rookie playing the post, brings in his best inside guy, James Edwards. And knowing that there's going to be some exploitation there on that end, Phil Jackson feels he needs a big offensive push, and then he brings Michael Jordan back in maybe a little earlier than he wanted to.
King misses both. Chicago 10 of 15 from the free throw line. Aguirre backing in on Pippen, who has to give him room. The follow and a foul, Ed Neely.
Chicago foul on Ed Neely.
Certainly when Chuck Daly talks about, you know, his team's defense, and Phil Jackson says that they like to exploit people on their offensive end. Two things happen. Chuck Daly's defense now can back up a little bit with this lead and seal off the middle again. And on offense, they recognize certainly they have an advantage with Mark Aguirre being guarded by Ed Neely, and they've been going to it.
Now Bill Cartwright back into the lineup. Stacey King will sit down for Chicago. Aguirre gets them both. He's got 4 points. The lead, largest of the game, 9 points, 71-62. And we're under the 10-minute mark. Cartwright trying to give a screen for Pippen, now calls for the ball. Back it goes to Neely. Jordan over Vinnie Johnson. No. Isaiah Thomas hustled for the rebound. Mark Aguirre In and out. He's 1 of 6 from the field. 9:25 to go. 71-62. Pippen over Edwards. And you think Edwards didn't have a presence there.
It's been an overall tough day for Scottie Pippen right there. But there's still enough time for him to get on track. What he's got to do, though, is possibly help out Ed Nealy.
Vinnie Johnson, Cartwright in his face. Sally flying in for the rebound. And he'll shoot 2 free throws as Ed Nealy draws the foul. 8:55 remaining in game number 1. Best of 7 series between Detroit and Chicago. Red Holtzman with a lot of his coaching philosophy. Tex Winter as well. And John Bach, both of whom are on the bench with him right now.
Well, you heard Jerry Krause refer to Phil Jackson's style, and it's a style that's meshed real well with the Bulls personnel. He's not a hollow type guy. He likes players to play within themselves, but nevertheless, he's not going to try to alter anybody's game. He's going to show them the way, and most importantly, he gets along with Michael Jordan.
Valid point. And we don't want to forget the others who've influenced Phil Jackson's, notable among them, Kevin Lockery. And here's John Sally at the free throw line. 8 points and 3 rebounds. 8:55 to go. The lead now in double digits for the first time today. Nealy and Hodges join Jordan, Pippen, and Cartwright on the floor for Chicago. Vinnie Johnson, Isaiah Thomas, Mark McGuire, Sally, and James Edwards for Detroit. Pippen having a tough day. He's 4 for 11. 21,000 plus on hand at this beautiful basketball facility north of Detroit, Auburn Hills, the Palace, where the Pistons trail by 4 at halftime, 43-39, but they outscored Chicago 28-17 in the third quarter, and they have an 11-point lead right now with 8:20 to go in game number 1. Underneath, knocked away, and Pippen gets it for Chicago. Hodges back to Pippen. That's a big one for Chicago. 3-pointer.
It's a big one for Scott Pippen's confidence as well. He knows he's going to be needed as this game wears on in this fourth quarter. But most importantly, where the Bulls offense went south, they now have to step up. They're going to have to take some quicker shots.
Offensive foul on
James Edwards called with an offensive foul away from the ball. That's his second. And Chicago now following Pippen's 3-pointer. Trails by 8. Michael Jordan had 26 at the half, 5 in the second half. Here's Jordan with Vinnie Johnson on it. Hodges. Brought down by Edwards. McGuire. And Mark McGuire goes to the free throw line.
Well, there are some rebounds available on the offensive board. Phil Jackson's got to find somebody who can convert them. Ed Nealy on that particular play, before Detroit came down on the offensive end, really had a chance to put the ball back in, but didn't. And I believe Horace Grant has replaced him right now. They need somebody to take advantage of their opportunities. Detroit's doing it.
Yes. Gets 1 of 2. Chicago Bulls in their series against Philadelphia had big fourth quarters, as Jerry Krause said. Outscored them by consecutively 3, 4, 14, 19, and 10 points. And they need that same kind of an effort here in the final 7:29.
And you know, a lot of that obviously has been clear out and open floors for Michael Jordan, who literally takes over for his team when they're competitive in the fourth quarter. The Bulls hope to get competitive at least in the next 4 minutes to allow him to really take over.
Johnson shaking loose. There's Jordan on the curl pattern, but has trouble. Kicks it out to Cartwright. Back to Armstrong for the jumper. Now Pippen for 3. Yes, that's 2 in a row for Scottie Pippen.
And a great substitution. Ed Nealy, while he's a competent player, doesn't have the skills of a Horace Grant, who got that offensive rebound and found Scott Pippen along the three-point area.
75-68. Johnson. The feed from Isaiah Thomas, and Vinnie Johnson has 10. That equals his playoff average. Here's Jordan at the other end. Kisses the glass and gets 2. He's got 7.5 now and 33 in the ball game. No surprise that this game's not going to be scored in triple digits by either team.
Well, they're certainly putting forth the effort defensively.
Isaiah Thomas. There's the answer for Detroit with a three-pointer.
Well, Isaiah had been quiet, but again, you can't really fault the Bulls defense because that's the kind of shot that you want to give up, if anything.
Michael Jordan misfires. He's 12 of 23. Huge rebound edge now for Detroit at 42-30. Johnson cuts through. Jordan with the rebound. He finds Scottie Pippen. Grant. Aguirre for Detroit.
4-shot selection by Horace Grant. He takes a 22-footer with no red shirts in the paint. He misses that. You might as well hand it to the Pistons.
Now the pace slowed down, and looks like they might have gotten James Edwards his third foul. Time has been called. 5:19 remaining in the ball game. The lead at 10.
In Larry Bird and Robert Parrish, the Boston Celtics possess one of history's greatest front court tandems. A brilliant passer, Bird finds Parrish for easy baskets, while Parrish often beats double teams by hitting Bird for open jump shots. Perfectly complementing each other, teammates Larry Bird and Robert Parrish work to be the best they can be.
Armstrong, Pippen, Cartwright, Jordan and Grant for Chicago. Here's Michael Jordan, Vinnie Johnson. That shot's off the mark.
And even Michael Jordan has caught some of that disease from the perimeter, not able to really put the ball down in wide open shots.
That's 6 rebounds for Isaiah Thomas, who has the ball right now. Armstrong takes a swipe at it. Pippen tries to save it for Chicago. And couldn't do it. Chuck Daly's going to his bench again. A well-rested Joe Dumars, Dennis Rodman, and Bill Laimbeer will replace Vinnie Johnson, James Edwards, and Mark Aguirre, who depart the Palace floor to a standing ovation.
And particularly with Rodman and Sally in, you know, offensively, Detroit's going to go to Joe Dumars and Isaiah Thomas as much as they can and create openings and either exploit them themselves or dish it off to some guys for some wide open shots. But defensively, Sally and Rodman are going to try and take over inside. This is that point in time when Detroit wants to lower the boom.
Dumars with 18 third-quarter points ignited the spark that brought Detroit from 4 down to 11 up. Right now, the lead is 10. Isaiah Thomas cuts through 2-man, doesn't get the roll, but the follow is there from John Sally.
And it was Isaiah Thomas's penetration that created the opportunity for John Sally to crash the boards. He and Rodman, great offensive rebounders. That's why they're there.
Sally has 11, joining Vinnie Johnson in double figures off the bench. We thought that might be a factor today for Detroit. They have such experience and talent. Here's Pippen, 2 more for Scottie Pippen, who's played the duration of this fourth quarter with 5 fouls. Traveling call. Technical foul follows that.
Isaiah's got to be careful. He can't lose his composure like that. His team is up 10 points. He certainly did carry, and I'm sure he's the kind of guy, when he sees a replay at home on his VCR, he'll recognize that it was a good call by the official.
There's Jordan with the tee. Take a look at it.
As you watch him come down, watch him put his hand. He carries the ball, hits his body. And it certainly was a good call.
Billy Oakes made the call. And then Isaiah rather vociferously disagreed with it. Got the technical. Now Chicago has the ball, trailing by 9.
And it wasn't so much that the ball hit his body, but his hand went under the ball to control it as he put it back down. And that's turning it over.
Jordan gets the ball to Grant, back to Armstrong. Well, they keep giving him that shot, and B.J. Armstrong cans this one. Lead is 7 with 3.5 to go in the ball game. Detroit's down by 4 at the half. Outscored Chicago 28-17 in the third quarter to take the match. Lambier. Rims out. Pippen.
Lambier was not the first option, obviously. Joe Dumars was really tightened up by the Chicago Bulls.
Offensive foul. Wow. Think he's in his first year? Huh?
Against a veteran who just had a technical called against him. Those things happen.
B.J. Armstrong, second foul, third team foul.
Chuck Daly with a little globetrotter behind his back action there. I don't think that was purposeful. He had to laugh at it. Maybe he's looking for highlight films for his show.
3:06 remaining. 82-75. Joe Dumars, Michael Jordan back on him now. Dumars was matched up against B.J. Armstrong when he scored most of those 18 third quarter points. Thomas traveling. This time Isaiah doesn't bother to disagree with the call. That is a look of chagrin, but his team is up by 7. 2:48 remaining in game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals in Detroit. By Eastern Conference Final game 4 between Chicago and Detroit. Right now, let's get a quick check-in with Leslie Bissell. Les? All right, Les. First of all, Michael's going to have Dumars all over him for this possession. There's the switch in the pick and roll, and Michael finds Horace Grant underneath, but he traveled.
Really a tough play right there. Horace Grant with a great pass from Michael Jordan had the opportunity.
2:35 to go. Isaiah Thomas, B.J. Armstrong. Jordan comes out to help. That leaves Dumars open. And he misses the shot, but Lambier gets the rebound.
He too gets away with a little shove off.
Right. There's that pick and fade or spot up by Lambier with Thomas. This time Isaiah keeps the ball. 6 in the shot clock. Sally traveling.
And that's a real tough play right there. The intent was to run a lot of time off the clock, but when you get the opportunity for a shot, you've got to be able to get one. There they ran a lot of time off, but didn't come out with anything.
Timeout has been called by the Chicago Bulls. It comes with what? Third time in a row these two have met in the playoffs. It was the semifinals 2 years ago, the conference finals last year, and Detroit has prevailed on each occasion. Thomas, 4 on the shot clock as they run time off. 2, 1, no. Grant with the rebound, stripped away, and the putback by Dennis Rodman.
Certainly the Chicago bench wanted a foul call there, but Horace Grant committed a cardinal sin. Tight game, brought the ball down to his waist and allowed Isaiah Thomas to get his hands on it. You got to come out there rough and aggressive with it.
Entry pass. Jordan gives it left side to Cartwright for 2. 56 seconds remaining in game 1.
The Pistons have broken the pressure, the double team by the Bulls by splitting it, either with a pass like Isaiah Thomas did just then or with the body to be able to see.
Dumars 18 in the third quarter, but none in the fourth. And here's Pippen. Jordan spots up for 3. In and out. Edwards tries to control it. Detroit ball. Bill Lambier will enter the fray now with the final 31.5 seconds, and Stacey King counters for Chicago. Edwards will sit down, as will Bill Cartwright. 84-77. At the other end, Rodman. That was almost embarrassing.
Looking forward to game 2. The Bulls certainly have to be happy with the way they played defense in the first half, at least. But what they have to find a way is to get the ball to some other people, to get some other people involved in the offense. I thought that was going to happen in this game.
Michael Jordan misses the 3 at the end. The final score, Detroit wins it by 86-77 as they hold Chicago to 39% from the field for the game.